doing Wilt Chamberlain type stuff now.
Nikola Jokić isn't just leading the MVP race, he's taking over the entire NBA in a way that barely feels real. My guy is putting up numbers that look straight out of a video game, dropping almost 30 a night, pulling down boards like they're being handed to him, and throwing out 11+ assists with the calm of a veteran point guard. And the wildest part? He's doing all of this with efficiency that doesn't even seem fair to the rest of the league. It genuinely looks like Jokic is playing a different version of basketball while everyone else is trying to keep up. But when you start breaking down the records he's touching, things get even more unbelievable. Jokic is sitting on a par of 37.0, the highest single-season mark the NBA has ever seen. Higher than Giannis, higher than Wilt, higher than any number he himself has ever put up in past seasons. That's not just elite, that's a totally new standard that every other superstar now has to chase whether they're ready or not. And when you check the list of players who average over 30 a game, Jokic sits at number 1 in efficiency there too.
Every 100 possessions that he's on the court, I want you to listen to what I'm about to say. I'm going to try to keep it under control. Every 100 possessions he's on the court, the Nuggets are scoring 151 points. Every 100 possessions he's on the court defensively, the Nuggets are giving up 104 points. That means every 100 possessions he's out there, the Nuggets are outscoring the opposition by 47 points. Okay?
He's holding the crown for the most efficient 30-point season in NBA history, passing legends like Curry, Giannis, and Adrian Dantley. That's serious legacy territory, and Jokic is walking through it like it's just another day at work. And yes, the story still isn't done. Jokic is already top 3 all-time in triple-doubles, sitting right behind Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robertson, and he keeps adding more almost every single week. Plus, he's sitting at number 1 in NBA history in win shares per 48 minutes, ahead of Michael Jordan, David Robinson, LeBron James, and Wilt Chamberlain. This level of dominance is something the league hasn't seen in years, and Jokic is out here acting like it's normal. That stat shows pure impact on the court, and Jokic is sitting at the top all by himself without anyone close to catching him. Scroll through any leaderboard this season, and his name just keeps showing up again and again. Rebounds, assists, total boards, defensive boards, assist percentage, offensive rating, win shares, box plus minus. It feels like you're scrolling just to find one category he's not dominating, and even that turns into a whole challenge. This isn't some regular MVP push. This is one of those rare seasons people talk about for decades. It's the kind of year future players look back on and say, yeah, that Jokic season was unreal. And when someone is breaking records nonstop and passing up legends like it's casual work, the conversation around them starts getting wild too. The more you realize how historic Jokic's season actually is, the more everything happening in Denver starts to feel way more intense and way more dangerous for the rest of the league. And honestly, the NBA might not be ready for what's about to come next, because Denver is playing with a different type of energy right now. So subscribe so you don't miss anything that's about to unfold, because this run is turning into something serious.
Jokic is doing stuff. It's wild, man. He's shooting 78% on 2-pointers. 78.
Yeah, that's a high
okay?
number.
He's leading the league in rebounds. He's leading the league in assists.
Every season, there's always that one matchup where a team reveals who they really are. And for Denver, that moment hit loud when they ran into the Houston Rockets. Houston has been one of the toughest squads all year, and heading into their building without Aaron Gordon, who had to step out after just a few minutes, and without Christian Braun should have felt like nothing but trouble. A road game, NBA Cup-style energy. The crowd locked in, everything about it screaming that Denver was walking straight into a trap game. But Denver flipped the whole situation in a way nobody expected. They didn't just escape with a lucky win. They walked in calm, controlled the tempo, answered every Houston run, and suddenly looked like that same cold, experienced squad the West was hoping would stay quiet this season. This wasn't about one matchup or one defender. It showed exactly what kind of machine Denver still is when they lock in. Houston usually needs just 2 things to ruin your whole night: clamp down on defense and completely throw off your rhythm by dragging you into their style. But somehow Denver matched them step for step and didn't blink once, holding Houston to just 12 points in the first quarter, surviving Reed Shepherd dropping 27, dealing with Houston crashing for 17 offensive rebounds, and still staying composed when the pressure hit. That's big-time composure right there. This entire game boiled down to 3 major things. And the first one was Denver hitting that hidden defensive switch they only use when it's serious. Even with Houston attacking the glass nonstop, Denver held them to just 7 for 17 on second-chance looks, forced tough mid-range shots, rotated like a championship squad, and refused to let Shepard's hot scoring stretch turn into a full takeover. The second key was Nikola Jokić, basically solving everything Houston tried to throw at him like it was a homework assignment. He dropped 34 points, grabbed 10 boards, and handed out 9 assists. But even those numbers don't really capture how much control he had over the entire game.
Denver has a man who is playing at the absolute peak of his powers, and so nothing can be taken away from him. And Denver has the number 2 defense in the league.
Every mid-range shot Houston dared him to take went straight in. Every moment they tried to disrupt him fell apart instantly. And even when Jamal Murray couldn't find his rhythm, Jokic kept Denver stable like nothing was wrong. He turned the whole matchup into a calm, calculated masterclass, and Houston had no answer for it. Jokic slowed the whole game down and kept the squad steady exactly when they needed that calm. He even guarded Sengun straight up and came through with the biggest plays when the pressure finally hit. He really did that. This was one of those games where you could literally see the best player on the floor pulling everything into his tempo and making everyone follow his rhythm. And if you're rocking with this breakdown, hit that subscribe button because more heat is on the way. The third key that locked everything in for Denver was their championship-level composure. That rare confidence you only earn from real battles and real high-pressure moments. Houston kept firing back with run after run, searching for any tiny opening to swing the momentum. But Denver didn't crack for even a second. They moved like a squad that's been through these moments 1,000 times because they actually have. You could see that experience in every single possession. When a team survives a night like this on the road, missing 2 starters, dealing with the crowd, dealing with the energy, and dealing with everything shifting around them, it reveals something deeper about who they truly are. Nights like this don't happen because of luck. They happen because a superstar like Jokic knows exactly when to take control and exactly how to manage every detail of the game. And everything Nikola Jokić showed in this matchup is the same high-level dominance he's been showing all season long. And he's running the whole league again with numbers that barely even look real. We're talking 29.5 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, nearly 2 steals, and shooting a wild 69% effective field goal percentage. That's video game level production. He's still the cleanest playmaker in the NBA, while also being one of the most efficient scorers anywhere in the league, which is just unbelievable. He's hitting 41% from deep, knocking down mid-range shots like he's warming up in practice, hitting 66% from 3 to 10 feet, and 67% from 10 to 16 feet. Those shots look automatic, and with his size, smooth footwork, and that calm control off the dribble, defenders barely have anything real they can throw at him. He walks right into the exact spots he wants, takes the shots he loves, and knocks them down at almost 70%, like it's nothing. There isn't a defensive scheme in the league built to slow down a player that precise. And because of that, his offensive impact is getting straight up ridiculous. Denver scores 22.4 extra points per 100 possessions when Jokic is on the floor. That's 99th percentile dominance. Their net rating jumps to plus 24 with him out there, and that's superstar level control at the absolute highest level. And if you're rocking with this breakdown, hit that subscribe button because more heat is on the way. Jokic is sitting in that 99th percentile zone for a reason, and the numbers just keep proving it. But before we keep cooking, big shout out to everyone watching and showing love. Seriously, it means everything. If you're enjoying the content, hit subscribe and smash that like button because it keeps the whole channel pushing forward. Let's lock back in because here's what people keep acting like they can't see. Jokic's defensive level this season is just as important as the wild numbers he's putting up. Anyone still claiming he's a weak defender simply isn't watching the games because that old storyline doesn't fit anymore. Denver leveled up their defense this year, and Jokic is standing right in the center of it with sharp positioning, perfect timing, and those high IQ reads that shut down plays before they even have a chance to develop.
These numbers that he is doing these are Wilt Chamberlain-esque numbers. I wasn't alive for Wilt Chamberlain had these numbers. You hear about these seasons. Wilt averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds, and he had 75 consecutive quadruple doubles or whatever. And you're like, I don't believe any of that.
He's doing all of this without blazing speed or huge leaping ability, and he's still anchoring one of the toughest defenses in the league. He's become the steady piece holding the entire structure together on that end, and that matters way more than any flashy chase-down highlight fans like to hype up. And yeah, he already has 3 MVP trophies sitting at home, but if he keeps performing like this, it's tough to imagine anybody else taking it this season. He's leading a top seed in one of the roughest Western Conference races we've seen, putting up basically a 30-point triple-double on crazy efficiency, all while being a real defensive factor. That alone makes his MVP case almost impossible to debate. And here's the part nobody's loud enough about. This version of Jokic feels completely different because Denver finally fixed 2 of the biggest issues they had last season. Somehow, the Nuggets flipped both weaknesses into legit strengths, and barely anyone is giving them proper credit for it. One of the most underrated things about Denver's season is how locked in they've been on defense right from day one. All offseason, all training camp, they were focused, ready, and sharpening every detail. That energy carried straight into the regular season, and it's showing every single night. The Nuggets kept saying they wanted to boost their defensive energy and climb into that top 10 zone, and now they're actually proving they meant it. The whole shift has been happening quietly, but it's one of the biggest reasons Denver looks dangerous again this season. And if you're feeling this breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because more is coming. And honestly, nobody knew if Denver really had the right mix to pull something like this off. But they didn't just slide into the top 10. They jumped straight into the top 5, sitting 5th in the entire NBA in defensive rating and holding teams to 112.2 points per 100 possessions. They've been forcing opponents way under their usual scoring numbers, and their point of attack defense looks way sharper than anything they showed last year.
The rotations look cleaner, faster, and way more organized, and Jokic is protecting the rim with the exact timing and discipline you expect from a true defensive anchor. When you watch the film, his impact jumps out immediately.
You see reads like this one, where Jokic slides over and completely shuts down that baseline pass. That's real defensive playmaking right there. Then there's another clip where he jumps the angle and instantly blows up a pass to Drew Eubanks. And when you slow it down, you can literally see Jokic reading the entire action before it even forms. And then there's the deflection on that Maher pass. A perfect example of him seeing things 2 steps ahead at all times. His situational awareness is on another level, and it keeps showing up every single game. And it's not just Jokic out there grinding on defense. Peyton Watson, Christian Braun when he's healthy, and even Cam Johnson have been giving Denver real meaningful defensive minutes on the wing. Last season, the Nuggets' biggest issue was their playoff defense only showing up once the postseason started. But this year, that same level has arrived early, and it's only November. That's why the Houston matchup spoke so loud. Denver didn't just randomly hold a top 3 offense to 12 points in 1 quarter. That's structure, that's preparation, and that's a whole locker room fully locked into the plan they spent the summer talking about. And what makes this defensive leap even more surprising is that it's not just the starting lineup carrying everything. This is where Denver has quietly made one of the biggest improvements in the entire league, even though barely anyone is talking about it. The bench has turned into a legit boost this season, and that changes everything for them. The non-Jokic minutes will always be the big question every year. How do they survive when Jokic sits? Last season, Denver had a negative 9.8 net rating with him on the bench, sitting in the 15th percentile. And then the playoffs came and somehow things dipped even lower. But this year's group is flipping that whole situation in a major way, and they're doing it with confidence, energy, and real consistency. And if you want deeper breakdowns just like this, hit that subscribe button because we're dropping even more heat soon. Last season, the non-Jokic minutes were a complete disaster, dropping all the way to a brutal minus 31.1 net rating, the worst mark in the entire NBA. Every possession felt shaky, every lineup looked stressed, and the moment Jokic sat down, the whole rhythm of the team collapsed. But this season, the shift is real, and you can actually see it in how steady the second unit looks the moment Joker steps off the floor. Thanks to some smart offseason moves, Denver finally built a bench they can trust. The non-Jokic minutes still aren't perfect at minus 6.6, but compared to last year, that is a massive upgrade and a huge sigh of relief for the whole squad. And honestly, that's all Denver needs, because when Jokic is out there, he gives them a plus 17.4 net rating all by himself. So if the bench can just keep the game under control while he rests, that's already a major win for this team. Peyton Watson has taken a real leap and turned into an actual defensive rotation piece this season. Spencer Jones has stepped in for spot minutes, bringing size, discipline, and clean, low-mistake basketball, exactly what Denver was missing. Tim Hardaway Jr. has become straight-up instant offense off the bench, heating up the moment he checks into the game. Jonas Valanciunas gives them real interior presence and someone they can actually run actions through when Jokic takes a breather. And Bruce Brown is finally starting to find his rhythm again as that steady glue guy they leaned on heavy during their championship run. This entire second unit feels more stable, more confident, and way more reliable, and that changes Denver's whole ceiling this season. So now when Jokic sits, Denver isn't collapsing the way they used to throughout the entire Jokic era. The drop-off is smaller, the rotations actually make sense, and the whole squad looks way more organized than anything we've seen in years. But even with a stronger bench and a tougher, more disciplined defense, none of it truly matters unless the second star locks in. And this season, Jamal Murray is acting like the regular season finally matters to him, maybe for the first time in his whole career, honestly. And that might be the biggest change of everything we're seeing. Jamal has always been a postseason problem. Everybody knows how dangerous he becomes when the lights get bright. But during the regular season, Denver never knew which version of him was pulling up that night. That uncertainty is gone now. This season, he looks like a totally different player. He's averaging a career-high 22.8 points, 6.5 assists, and 1.2 steals, shooting 54% effective field goal percentage, and playing with a level of consistency Denver fans have been begging to see for years. If you're feeling this breakdown, hit that subscribe because more heat is dropping soon. You can tell Jamal is taking the nightly grind way more seriously this season. He's playing more aggressive, using his physicality and locking in from the opening tip. He's attacking mismatches right away instead of sitting back and waiting for the game to come to him like he used to. In past years, people in Denver would start stressing around midseason because Jamal Murray would cruise through the regular schedule with no steady rhythm, no real urgency, and no consistent production. But this version of Jamal is showing up ready every night, and Denver finally looks like a team with two stars pushing at the same level. But this year, nobody is stressing because for the first time in his entire career, Jamal looks like a legit all-star from October forward, and he's been holding that level every single week. That's huge for Nikola Jokić because it means he doesn't have to carry the entire offense on his back night after night anymore. The Houston game showed this perfectly. Murray started off cold, then flipped the switch in the second half, attacking mismatches, hitting a clutch mid-range dagger, and making the smartest defensive read of the whole game by jumping Jalen Green's pass to Thompson, who was wide open in the dunker spot. That single play ended up saving the entire night, and what's wild is that it didn't feel like some random miracle or sudden playoff mode moment. This was the same Jamal we've been watching all month, the version who actually cares about November basketball instead of waiting until April to wake up. And when both of your stars are playing at this level in November, your whole ceiling rises fast. That win over Houston wasn't just another solid W, it was a message. It was a real test for Denver, and they handled it with control, poise, and straight playoff-style focus from tip to buzzer. They walked into a tough building, short-handed against a top squad, and moved like a team that's been here before. And honestly, none of this shocks me at all. Before the season even started, I picked Denver to win the championship, and absolutely nothing they've done has pushed me away from that prediction. This squad looks locked in, their stars look synchronized, and the entire energy feels like a team gearing up for something serious. If anything, watching how sharp and dominant Denver has looked this season makes me even more confident in that championship prediction, even with Oklahoma City looking strong right now. But while Denver is running through the West, something spicy is starting to heat up in the East because the Detroit Pistons suddenly look like a real threat. And if you want to see why the numbers say that squad might actually be legit, the full breakdown is sitting right there waiting for you. So go check it out and show some love. And make sure you subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment because it keeps the fire coming and helps the channel grow. Did anything in this breakdown jump out to you, or do you see the whole story differently? Drop your thoughts because I actually want to hear what you think. I appreciate everyone who pulls up to watch these breakdowns. Seriously, it means a lot. That support keeps everything moving and lets us keep dropping heat non-stop. And if you're hungry for more, there are plenty of videos waiting for you right here on the channel. So tap into those next. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.